I really feel so much protest energy this month. In nearly every single transit, that vibe is there.
Astrology is the tits. 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 Astrology is the tits.
Is there a way to
Astrology
find
is the
empathy
tits.
and solidarity? The stars this month tell us that a creative process or work of art may help show us the way to deeper connection. It isn't all sunshine and rainbows, though, as we have some challenging transits in the middle of the month. The ups and downs of life are just part of the complex journey of being a soul having a human experience, or a human having a soul experience for that matter. Try to maintain perspective as you ride the waves. Try to see the holistic experience of life as a blessing, as a teacher of nuance and resilience, and as training for the great transition we will all undergo one day as we go home to the universe, hopefully greeted by all those who crossed over before us. Try not to take everything so seriously. A little irreverence can go a long way. Balance it out with sincerity, and that's half the battle. Take the mirror of this month to understand your process, to make note of your patterns. How do you navigate the maze of life? How do you heal? How do you create? Notice. It will lead to greater self-understanding. When you're in the thick of it, not sure how to get out of a corner you've built yourself into, try to see if you can't get yourself to float on top of it, to let it unfold without too much resistance or interference. It's just a wave after all. Stay tuned at the end to see how the month will play out for your rising sign. And don't forget to help out the channel by hitting like, subscribing to the channel, and leaving me a comment about what you're hoping to leave behind in June 2025 and what you are calling in for July 2025 and beyond. Let's get into it. So July 4th, Venus ingresses into Gemini. We have Venus conjunct Uranus at 29 degrees, and Neptune goes retrograde in Aries at 3 degrees. The Sabian symbols here are 30 degrees of Taurus, which is a peacock parading on the terrace of an ancient lawn. 3 degrees of Aries, the cameo profile of a man suggesting the shape of his country. 29 degrees of Gemini. Blaine Bovey says of this Sabian symbol, a great person able to display a multitude of gifts is always, at one level or another, the consummation of a long past of efforts and victories. Sacred 7 Academy says, our personal displays of excellence bears testimony to all that went before us. I just think that's so beautiful, and it really puts me in touch with my sense of purpose, which is what keeps me going when it feels like I'm failing again. Your gifts, talents, and spirit are not just the culmination of your own work and experiences in this lifetime, but also the culmination of the efforts of your ancestors, both genetically and historically, but also creatively. Whose work has informed your own? How has that helped you cultivate a practice of transmutation where you can feel and release your feelings by weaving them into something new, something impactful, something interesting and authentic? 3 degrees of Aries. There is so much coming up about art already this month. This is about the individual being able to embody the energy of the whole. Not whole, but honestly, embodying the energy of the wholes isn't a bad idea either. Yielding, receptive, willing to be filled, pleasure-centered, present. Maybe listen to my episode about fisting/expansion if you want to embody the energy of the whole. Anyway, this is just reiterating what I said about the peacock. How can you commit to your empathy for the collective without it eating you alive? First, I guess reframe empathy as an immense privilege, because it is. It can feel more like a burden for sure. Despite making up 1 to 6% of the population, low empathy individuals make up 20 to 30% of people in leadership positions. In capitalism, you're rewarded for a lack of empathy. Gestures broadly at the state of the world. But that's precisely why I think of empathy as a privilege. With the rise of the manosphere and white supremacist, capitalist, cis heteropatriarchy being unabashedly on trend, why are eating disorders back? Romanticized patriarchy via tradwife nonsense, sex negativity, purity culture, self-censorship because we're imprisoned by the whims of algorithms run by oligarchs, and AI absolutely tanking already alarmingly low levels of critical thinking. Being able to feel your feelings and empathize with others is becoming a downright superpower. That doesn't mean that it's easy to hold that space, but important things are rarely easy. They are, however, usually worth it. Stay soft, my loves. Whatever happens, please protect that part of you that knows how to love. Venus in Gemini is a fun sign to have. It brings a lightheartedness to things that can sometimes feel really heavy, like love and relationships, art, values, and money. There is another side to this coin, though, where the native with this placement might experience pushback from their lovers. Their lightheartedness is seen as threatening or untrustworthy. I have a friend with this placement, and they told me this story of when they first started dating their long-term partner, and they've been together for many years now. They were falling for them so hard, but they went out to a bar and just like casually made out with someone else. And they told their partner about it, and after were like, I don't even know why I did it. Everyone was cool and queer, so it wasn't that big a deal, but you could see how that could have got down in a different environment. Venus and Gemini. You may be feeling more social, more down for a laugh, a little more cool and casual, communicative, and because this air sign for me always brings hummingbirds to mind, energetic. Gemini's playful intelligence loves to be a student, so get curious about learning something new. It might just change your life. This might not be the best energy for buckling down or making serious commitments, but I think even those types of situations can benefit from a little humor and a little levity. Try to utilize this energy to have a little fun. Don't, my dog just fell down. Are you okay? Oh my gosh, are you okay, Jakey? Try to utilize this energy to have a little fun. Just don't forget your sunscreen and electrolytes so you don't get partied out. Venus conjunct Uranus could bring some shakeups to relationships, so that Gemini mutability will be very helpful during this transit. The best way to effectively ride this wave is to lean into flexibility. Change is the only constant, and Uranus is the planet of jump scares and surprises. Much of the time, it is rigidity which makes change feel unbearable. Whereas if you remain open to change and willing to undergo yet another transformation, it becomes a way of being, a philosophy. To quote Bruce Lee, "Be water, my friend. There is potential for rich experience here. Try not to let it pass you by." Of Neptune retrograde in Aries, the Astrology King writes, "The destruction of your fantasy world will show those harsh realities you previously sought to avoid. A tower moment is momentary discomfort for long-term gains. It will be worth it. This is a crucial moment of honesty. Allow this look back to bring you the kind of clarity that cuts you to the core. Be ruthless in your willingness to shed what is harmful, outdated, self-sabotaging, or inauthentic. The more delulu you've been, the more you resist self-reflection, the more difficult this transit will be. There may be a come to Jesus moment regarding the ways you tend to engage with escapism. If things get a little too harsh, work that radical self-acceptance muscle. Practice empathy on yourself. Forgive yourself for the ways you survived. Thank your coping mechanisms for keeping you alive, but then let them go. You can't hate yourself into changing. Trust me, I tried that. It did not work. But telling the truth of who you've been to yourself is incredibly liberating. After the sting wears off, at least. As within, so without. The fight for liberation externally is a direct reflection of one's willingness to face their own demons. When you embrace one, it can lead you to the other. But that ego is a trickster spirit, so keep your wits about you. July 7th Uranus ingresses into Gemini, and Venus in Gemini trines Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees. The Sabian symbols here are 3 degrees of Gemini, the Garden of the Tuileries in Paris, and 3 degrees of Aquarius, a deserter from the Navy. We've talked about both of these Sabian symbols in past astrology reports in May and June. Big protest energy, jumping ship, perhaps changing minds. I don't know if you're all tapped into this, but 3 degrees of Aquarius reminds me of all the MAGA people who are changing their minds. Sure, saying this is not what we voted for is an intelligence insulting shirking of responsibility, gaslighting at its most annoying, but someone leaving the cult of fascism for any reason is a win in my book. Something YouTube rep Taurus on Ice said in his video on the relevancy of V for Vendetta in the current times stood out to me while I was watching it while lifting this week. Quote, "A political protest loses its potency when it's purely performative. We don't need people to embody the vibe of that hashtag white feminism. If Kamala had won, we'd be having brunch right now, signed from the No Kings protest. We are so far beyond that at this point. Part of that deserter from the Navy energy is someone who is very invested in the illusion, to the point of sacrificing their freedom and sanity and well-being and soul in some cases, returning home a shell of their former self, abandoned by the government who so casually sent them to do things people don't really come back from, usually for reasons that were utterly unnecessary, who one day realizes they've been used, that it was all a lie. While some will cling to the fallacy that they did something honorable and good with their lives, others will be so justifiably furious that they devote their lives to creating a world where that never happens to anyone again. Do something for your community. Unpack an internal bias. Let the harsh light of clarity radicalize as well as devastate you." Uranus in Gemini brings societal upheaval. Last time Uranus moved into Taurus, we saw proof of how false capitalism breeds innovation is. It limits who is able to innovate, losing who even knows how much genius to the 10 of Wands energy of just getting by. It ensures that any innovation is tainted and weaponized by exploitation. Under capitalism, anything good created will never be used for the greater good. For the next 8 years, expect to see changes in communication, research, travel, and liberation. Uranus understands that sometimes it is only through dramatic upheaval that we grow. It's like how often in retrospect, people come to understand that some of the hardest moments of their lives were the ones that most helped them become who they are. If you don't resonate with that, that's totally fine, and I understand why. But I am at the place in my life where I love who I am right now so much that I wouldn't change anything I went through, because then I wouldn't be me. Try to keep that in mind as we pull the lap bar down on this roller coaster that is Uranus and Gemini. Venus trine Pluto in Aquarius is likewise asking us to take a look at our communities, whether that be friends, romantic partners, colleagues, chosen family, whatever, and see what's working and what isn't. What is genuinely good will probably experience an increase in intimacy and commitment. What isn't good may come to an end. Resistance in this instance will only delay the inevitable, so try to be fearless in your ability to accept what is. There is a lot of potential for new connections under this transit, and anything coming in now could have a surreptitious vibe, so try to stay in your integrity and be mindful of hiding things that may hurt someone you love. New relationships happening now do have a great potential for long-term happiness, though this initial intensity will fade with time. Ground whenever you start to feel obsessive and try to enjoy the ride. Trust what's happening now is for your highest good, even if it's hard to believe that in the moment. You'll see. July 10th, we have the full moon in Capricorn at 18 degrees. The Sabian symbol, 18 degrees of Capricorn, is the Union Jack flies from a British warship. It's hard. British warship is very hard to say. Blaine Bovey says of this symbol, justice and compassion must balance social power, and especially the power of privileged groups. Where this symbol appears, the need for protection may be in evidence, or it may be a warning against using power for selfish advantage. Nationalism is an early tactic of indoctrinating fascism. What are you hiding under that flag? I've heard many leftists and marginalized folks express that the American flag elicits the same feelings in them as seeing the Confederate flag. What does that piece of cloth even represent? Power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. Who you were before the power will be made into a caricature by the drug of power. It is an addiction. If you are an empathetic and critical thinking person, someone who has good intentions and generosity of spirit, you will do good with any power you end up possessing. Liberation is empowerment, which is non-hierarchical and internal. When you know you are enough, you don't need to try to fill the void inside you with power or money or approval or whatever external bullshit we are all obsessed with and distracted by. That's why healing is radical. Contented people make reluctant consumers. Think of all the money the diet and beauty industries would lose if we just all decided to stop striving for some idea of perfection that doesn't really exist. I feel like this grounded energy is going to feel so nice and so helpful in this very ungrounded air, fire, and water month. Take today to slow down. Rest if you can. Head to nature for a full moon ritual. Reassess your goals and maybe, more importantly, your fears around success and abundance. Capricorn is cardinal earth. It knows how to take decisive action. Think of the times in your life where you went after something you wanted and made it happen. What motivated you? How did you overcome your fears? What did you learn about yourself through this process? And how can you recall those skills and tools and put them to use in the present? Most of all, commit to living holistically. It is possible to work towards material fulfillment without totally losing yourself or sacrificing your wellness. In fact, learning how to do that is a radical act. Tire of your own exploitation. Push back. See what happens. July 12th, we have Saturn retrograde in Aries at 1 degree. The Sabian symbol here is a comedian entertaining a group. There is a lot of power in irreverence, subversion, and laughter. First of all, revolution can be very heavy, scary, and full of grief and suffering. And as all severely traumatized people can tell you, sometimes laughter is all that keeps you going. Jester's privilege says that you can safely speak truth to power in ways that people who are more obviously earnest cannot. There is a protective shield around comedy. This symbol always reminds me of John Oliver, who I understand having criticism about, but who brings me so much laughter, joy, hope, and feelings of solidarity as he's reporting on some of the worst things that are happening in the world. I appreciate that so much. He's able to be hard-hitting in ways that most serious mainstream journalists aren't even willing to be these days. I used to say life's a joke in a negative way, like my life is a cosmic joke. For example, last week a sex toy company reached out to me for a collaboration. I was so excited. I have been literally manifesting this. Well, I responded to the email a couple hours later and they wrote back saying they already filled all the collaborator spots. So they basically reached out to me just to reject me. It's so funny, I had to laugh. That's a totally unserious microcosm of how things often go for me, and these days I barely bristle. I mostly laugh. It really is kind of funny most of the time. But when I do need to break down and cry, I still do. July 13th, Sun in Cancer trine North Node in Pisces at 22 degrees. The Sabian symbols here are 22 degrees of Cancer, a woman awaiting a sailboat, and 22 degrees of Pisces, a man bringing down a new law from Sinai. The horizon is a liminal space. You can never reach the horizon. You can only gaze at it. The only time you appear to reach a horizon is when someone is witnessing you from afar. The future is a thought. The past is a thought. The only thing that is real in the material sense is the present moment. If you're struggling to appreciate how far you've come on your journey, seek out the external perspectives of your loved ones. It can be intensely vulnerable to ask someone, "Have you noticed if I've grown?" But sometimes we do need the affirmation from someone we trust who really loves us and sees us. Perfection is an unattainable goal rooted in capitalism and self-sabotage. Get messy with it. Seek the balance between mastery and flow. Understand the importance of the journey as opposed to the destination. If you aren't paying attention, you can trick yourself into always being in a state of striving, and you can literally wish or work your life away. Never basking in your accomplishments, never feeling proud of yourself, never appreciating how far you've come. Give yourself a moment. Be grateful for yourself. There's also something here about being stuck, held back, obsessed with, or projecting the past onto the present. It's about the old paradigms being threatened by those exploring new ways of being. No one benefiting from the status quo is ever going to thank you for rejecting it. There will always be mockery, backlash, and discouragement. Don't take it to heart. Forgive me for this quote. I promise you, I am using it facetiously because of a Nathan For You episode. I just think #girlboss coffee mug slogan culture is so funny. But also there is some truth in it. Well-behaved women rarely make history. Be weird, break those generational cycles, live by your values, be a pain in the ass. You will be planting seeds and shifting vibrations in ways that you never see proof of. But trust and believe, you will be making a difference. This transit brings a harmonious alignment between the sense of self and your own life purpose. Of course, where this trine falls in the houses of your chart will tell you what area of your life it will be most affecting. If you'd like to investigate this further, you can book an astrology consultation with me. Just head to the link in my bio and then click the services tab. Keep an eye out for opportunities that pop up to help you on your path, and be courageous in seizing them. Try not to flounder or hesitate too long. Don't doubt it, just say yes. You may find yourself attracting more support, or just seeing people responding to you in a more uplifting and collaborative way. This water trine may be smoothing the way as you expand your spiritual practice and connect to your intuition. You may be feeling more creative, emotional, and sincere. Embrace it. Enjoy it. July 17th, we have Mercury retrograde in Leo at 15 degrees. The Sabian symbol here is a pageant with its spectacular floats, moves along a street crowded with cheering people. The ordinary can be extraordinary if you're paying attention. No matter how big life gets, there's always dinner with your loved ones, an episode of a show you're into, a headbutt from a needy dog, a joyful burden of a 9-step skincare routine to close out your busy days. Don't forget to appreciate the little things. They are sometimes the most beautiful. Even on my worst days, the sun striking the leaves on the trees, blowing in the breeze, little flickering dollops of light, the sun causing the chartreuse undersides of the leaves to glow as it penetrates through them, you know what I'm talking about, brings me so much joy and inspiration. Take a moment, take a breath. Have a phone call with the friend that makes you laugh the most today. There's so much joy to be found if you let yourself, even amongst all the suffering. Mercury retrograde, y'all know the drill by now. Avoid signing any contracts, having any very serious conversations, buying new electronics, making travel plans until a couple weeks after Mercury goes direct, if you can. If you can't, just like tread carefully, read and reread and reread things, and just make sure that you're like, that being misunderstood is as foolproof as possible, or that you're not overlooking something really important that's going to bite you in the butt later. Expect miscommunications and delays, or try not to be too surprised or upset if you have to do something more than once. Double check any emails or texts, edit that post an extra time, Mercury in Leo is not afraid of a little theatricality. There may be a boldness in you at this time that makes you feel more motivated to fight for yourself, your vision, what you feel is right, for your own well-being, and the well-being of others. Now is not the time for wilting flowers or passive aggression. It's about that good, heart-centered fire energy. Mercury in Leo loves to have its voice heard, so speak that truth loud and clear. If you can't admit what you want, you're going to have a really hard time getting it. Let this transit inspire you to reflect on the last few months with loving honesty. What's been going well and what hasn't? What's been limiting and what's been liberating? What wounds have been triggered lately and how are you regulating yourself? This only lasts 3 weeks, so just hold steady and it will all work out just fine. July 20th, we have Mars conjunct the South Node in Virgo. Anytime Mars interacts with the South Node, there is opportunity for injury or trouble of some kind, so tread carefully today. There may be an urge to cling to the past, even though it is more beneficial to look forward. Or maybe the past is still the filter through which you see the world. This is a good opportunity to announce this month's podcast topic, creating new pathways. And it's about removing that past filter from your line of sight and learning how to acclimate your body and mind to a more loving reality. I guess how to stop expecting the worst could be an alternate title. It drops July 15th, so subscribe to the channel or the podcast wherever you pod so you never miss an episode. Everybody's going to be in fight mode a little bit. You may be feeling more motivated to take action towards your goals or desires. I really feel so much protest energy this month. In nearly every single transit, that vibe is there. Be wary of overreactions and lashing out at anyone who dares to poke those South Node wounds, even unintentionally. It's better to take a deep breath, count to 10, and give the benefit of the doubt. If someone is hell-bent on hurting you, then by all means, use this energy to go scorched earth. This time is very much about releasing what cannot come with you to your next era or iteration. This transit is supporting you in this process. This time is very much about releasing what cannot come with you to your next era or iteration. This transit is supporting you in this process. July 22nd, happy Leo season. It's giving big heart-centered energy, big unbridled declarations of love, untapped generosity, giant hair. Enjoy the shift in vibe that Leo season brings, and I hope it's really starting to feel like summer, although I hope that you're staying safe in this crazy, crazy heat. July 23rd, we have Venus in Gemini square Mars in Virgo at 21 degrees, and the Sun in Leo sextile Uranus in Gemini at 1 degree. Sabian symbols, 21 degrees of Gemini, a tumultuous labor demonstration. There's the protest energy again. 21 degrees of Virgo, a girls' basketball team. And 1 degree of Leo, a case of apoplexy. I should have looked up how to pronounce this. Apoplexy, right? 1 degree of Gemini, a glass-bottomed boat reveals undersea wonders. It's time to hit the streets and keep hitting them, I think. It's like in boxing movies where the underdog gets one good hit in after taking a beating for the whole fight, and then they just land punch after punch after punch, relentless about it, until they defeat the undefeatable. David and Goliath, baby. Solidarity is one of the most powerful things in the world. That's why the proverbial they put so much effort into dividing us. Many goals, most goals, cannot actually be achieved with only individual effort. We need groups, collectives, teams to get us where we're going. It takes a village. There is no I in team. Part of what we're unpacking about capitalism is the myth of the individual. Nothing exists in a vacuum. We live in a society. What you do impacts the world around you, and when you move through life with that understanding, you tend to do less harm. Sacred 7 Academy says of 1 degree of Leo, The fire in the heart can become dangerous if it goes to the head. Watch those egos. When we challenge power, and maybe even remove certain power over people or structures, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, sometimes that creates a vacuum. We have to be careful not to let corruptible people fill that void. Work your discernment muscle. Your intuition always knows what's true. It requires great strength of character to fully embody the life force in our personality without losing poise and perspective. Finally, while floating on top of the metaphorical sea of life, of being human, don't forget or neglect the depths below that hold all the mystery and magic of life. Don't get so caught up in the material that you forget you are first and foremost a soul. Don't fear the infinite layers of you. That's what makes you a miracle. Venus square Mars can give a boost to the sex drive, but may also bring up any underlying tension regarding sex in your relationships. It's a good day for sexual tension in general. If you don't have those issues in your life and relationships, enjoy an impassioned roll in the hay today if you feel so inclined. In a healthy relationship, sex can be one way to express your love for each other. In an unhealthy connection, it may be anger or hatred that is expressed through sex. It may not be the best day to solve any issues in your relationships because the horniness is turned all the way to 11, and it can be difficult not to get distracted. Self-control may be a little more challenging than usual, and impulsivity will be activated as well. Try to just take a moment before taking action to consider the long-term ramifications of those actions. Finally, try not to act out in anger if you experience rejection or disappointment. To quote Real Housewife Ramona Singer, don't make a mountain out of a whole mill. Sun in Leo sextile Uranus and Gemini can bring pleasant surprises and exciting encounters with fascinating people new to you and ones you already know and love. You may get some affirming or illuminating feedback that helps you see yourself more clearly. It's a good day for creativity and letting your freak flag fly. In fact, the weirder you let yourself be, the more likely you are to attract people who can match that freak. Let curiosity lead the way. Don't shut something down without considering it first. The energies today may make it a challenge to focus or access your normal level of productivity. Don't fret, don't resist, just try to enjoy it for what it is. It may be a good day to play hooky. July 24th, we have the Sun in Leo trine Saturn at 1 degree, and Neptune in Aries 2 degrees, and the new moon in Leo also at 2 degrees. Oh, it's all conjunct, baby. The Sun is trine Saturn and Neptune, and the new moon. Yeah. Sabian symbols, 2 degrees of Leo. Remember, if it's not an exact degree, we round up for the Sabian symbols. An epidemic of mumps, 2 degrees of Aries. Once again, a comedian entertaining a group. There is so much social energy this month. We have all that Gemini and Leo, so everybody wants to be out and hanging out with each other. The mumps Sabian symbol is concerning because of all the anti-vaxxers out there bringing back nearly extinct illnesses, potentially dooming the future of humanity thanks to the bizarre, super condescending cognitive dissonance of doing their own research, aka ignoring years of very thorough research and innovations that have already been proven effective. It's a real design flaw of ignorance that people suffering from it rarely have the context they need to be aware that they are indeed suffering, and forcing the rest of us to face the consequences of their uninformed and ultimately very selfish actions. Sacred 7 Academy says of 2 degrees of Leo, any imbalances that we suffer individually can all too easily spread outward to affect the people around us, and therefore in turn our total life experience. When you are immature and dysregulated, it can be very easy to negatively impact the people around you. Have you ever encountered someone whose shitty energy is like a dark cloud, taking a toll on the moods of everyone around them? Nothing exists in a vacuum. The individual versus the collective. We are too far into late-stage capitalism to continue pretending as if our choices don't matter. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism doesn't mean to just give up trying because it's futile and therefore you're absolved of any responsibility. It means that you have to try a lot harder to be mindful of controlling the things you can. Long story long, shit is very heavy and we are up against a lot. When you feel lost in grief and anger, remember how far levity and laughter can go towards changing up negative energy. Sun trine Saturn brings stability, discipline, balance, and the importance of a good routine into the mix today. Taking responsibility is blessed under this transit. You may have an opportunity or payoff take place today that's a culmination of some seed you planted months ago. There is some proof that your hard work is making a difference. You just sometimes have to force yourself to notice and internalize that that is what's happening. It's a good time for spiritual and material growth as well as self-actualization. You may have an easier time living a holistic life thanks to Sun trine Saturn. Sun trine Neptune may put you more deeply in touch with your caring and nurturing side. You may feel connected to your morals, values, and ideals and more motivated to act on them. Empathy and activism. With the new moon in the mix as well, you may get clarity on how to achieve your goals and maybe be more honest about how important they are to you. This is a perfect time for a new moon ritual. Write down what you'd like to release and what you'd like to call in on a piece of paper. Pour all the energy and wanting and frustration and longing into the words you write, then burn it. As you watch it burn, release any attachment you have to how you think it's going to manifest. And then prepare yourself to receive with knowing, with faith. Creativity, art, spirituality, occult practices like astrology and tarot are all great things to engage with today. Socializing is easier, intimacy comes more naturally, and there is a lot of sweetness here for deepening connections both new and old. Enjoy the open-heartedness. Enjoy the closeness. Enjoy the self-awareness. This is a great day for growth on all levels. July 25th, we have the Sun in Leo opposite Pluto in Aquarius at 2 degrees. The Sabian symbols here. 3 degrees of Leo is a woman having her hair bobbed. 3 degrees of Aquarius, a deserter from the Navy again. Anyone who has ever participated as a woman in society, whether through conditioning or choice, knows that the first haircut a woman usually gets when transitioning from little girl long hair to a more grown-up style is a bob. I don't know why. I think it's a good in-between, and it is very flattering on most people. It's long enough that it's not too jarring a change, but it's short enough that it can make a big difference. I remember when I chopped my butt-length hair off at 8 years old, making my drunk mom cry. I felt so sassy and cute. I felt like a new person. It was nice. I couldn't stop shaking my head like a shampoo commercial. Society unfairly limits self-expression in myriad ways. And sometimes we have to take baby steps into true authenticity because the risk of rejection or marginalization is so real. The tethers of fascism disguising itself as trends right now is really upsetting to anyone who has lived enough life to have already unpacked all the status quo bullshit in favor of self-expression. Earnestness has become cringe and conformity is back in style somehow. Progress isn't linear though, and if you don't acquiesce to the pressure preemptively, eventually things will loop back around and you'll feel grateful you didn't participate in or perpetuate fascism because some grifter on TikTok told you to. Dig those heels in. Fuck it. Think for yourself. The emperor has no fucking clothes. There's something here about self-esteem. Be wary of addiction, stubbornness, jealousy, and manipulation. This is not a good day to cyber creep on your ex. You would probably only see something that would hurt your feelings. There's disaster energy here. Take care with electronics and be cautious when facing natural or man-made disasters. Back up your work. store your valuables somewhere safe, and err on the side of caution. The best way to navigate this transit with as little chaos as possible is to simply ride the waves of change. Even teach yourself to intuit change before it happens, before it needs to happen. Remember, it's resistance that causes a good majority of internal suffering. So try to surrender for a change and see what happens. A good affirmation to use in moments like this is, I have within my power to use anything that happens to me for my highest good. You do. You really, really do. July 27th, Mars in Virgo at 3 degrees. Sabian symbol, not 3 degrees, 23 degrees. 23 degrees of Virgo is an animal trainer. Blaine Bovey says of this symbol, imagine keen precision blended with soft and steady awareness. It reminds me of the Strength card in the tarot. It goes back to that thing I said about not being able to shame or hate yourself into changing. In fact, those feelings are so deeply uncomfortable that we will do anything to escape them. Whereas if you practice radical self-acceptance, if you're gentle, loving, and encouraging to yourself, literally anything is possible. You cannot tame the ego through sheer force of will. Only through love and patience will you become the master of yourself. Once you quiet the part of you that needs to have power over in order to feel safe, you'll be able to see that impulse in others more clearly, which informs your discernment and helps you protect yourself going forward. Be kind. You're the closest relationship you'll ever have. No one can hurt you like you can. And no one can love you like you can either. Mars in Virgo is about railing against institutions who cause harm more than they help. It's the vibe of those kinds of revolutionaries that seem too radical for most people in the present moment, but who are guided by a sense of purpose that is downright divine and will be upheld as heroes in the future. What was coming up for you in March of this year? The eclipse brought the North and South nodes into Pisces and Virgo. Themes have been coming up regarding the material versus the spiritual. Have you noticed the balance of these energies that you have in your life? Which one gets prioritized? Which one comes more easily to you? And how can you work to strike a better balance going forward? Which one challenges you and makes you uncomfortable? How can you embrace and implement it regardless? Virgo's thoroughness, sweetness, and patience inspire and uplift you to continue being the change you wish to see in the world. July 30th, Venus in Cancer. As Venus enters Cancer, you may feel more of a pull towards security, reassurance, and stability in relationships, and that could look different depending on where you are in your attachment journey. You could feel clingy, sulky, or passive-aggressive, or you could feel more driven to talk everything out openly and honestly until things are brought to a solid conclusion. Over the past couple months, there's been recurring themes of relationships in the astrology and with my friends, loved ones, and tarot clients. Relationships that are healthy and strong are being taken to a higher level, and those that are not are coming to an end. Try to embrace whatever is unfolding. Trust what the universe is showing you. You'll look back on this moment and be grateful you did. Cancer rules the 4th house, so sprucing up your home may bring you a lot of joy. July 31st, we have Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde in Leo at 9 degrees. Sabian symbols. 9 degrees of Leo is glass blowers. Glass blowers take breath, fire, and sand and create these incredible works of art out of them. If that isn't alchemy, I don't know what is. To create anything, it takes a divine spark of inspiration from spirit, passion, drive, and the resilience to face the ego again and again as one navigates the process, and the actual material resources and craft to make the thing too. What is your process? How do you work? How do you experience change? If there's a lot of resistance and fear, can you make a goal to unpack it each time you face another transformation? Can you at least work on getting yourself to a place where you want to unpack it? Remember what Bruce Lee said: there can be no creativity with ego rigidity. Loosen up, play, flail, fail. You'll see, if you're open to it, all it really does is build character. Communication is blessed today. Get out of the house and into your neighborhood. Attend a building potluck or invite a friend who lives close by over for breakfast. Have a good conversation. Take a short trip. You may feel extra alert mentally, so use it to problem solve an issue you've been stuck on, or to write something you've been meaning to, but just haven't found the right moment. Wrap up this month feeling grateful for all the insights, lessons, and fun the stars have blessed you with. Take a moment to reflect. Maybe journal on the last 30 days. How have you grown? What have you accomplished? How have you made different choices? How have you created new pathways? We're going to get into the all signs portion of the video, so look out for the timestamps if you want to find your sign. This is mainly based on rising sign, but if you want to, you can apply it to your sun and or moon as well. I'm going to pull a card for each sign too. All right. Aries, this will be a month of profound personal growth for you. Your relationships may be taking center stage as you reevaluate who gets to know the deepest, softest parts of you, who stays on the periph, and who doesn't get to know you at all. It may be time for some tough conversations, but remember, it takes two to tango. Notice who handles you with care. Alexa, play Handle with Care by the Traveling Wilburys. This is a good time for you to take stock of your life in general. Try setting new goals or reconnect with your values. There may be a shift towards overall wellness in your life. I feel a real energy of taking things back to basics in order to foster and create new and more self-loving habits where you are considering and factoring in rest. You're learning your limits, learning how to live and live well without always teetering on the edge of burnout. Patience and moderation will really serve you this month. Taurus, this proves to be a very positive month for you. You may find yourself feeling optimistic and open to experience, and life tends to reward those who are open to experience with more rich experience. So enjoy. You'll be feeling confident, optimistic, and goal-oriented. You'll have a chance to shine at work, impressing your superiors. You may feel lucky or like your luck is changing, especially in the first few weeks of the month. It's a great time for new love and relationships. It's a fortuitous time to shoot your shot. A shift occurs at the end of the month, however, and that may have you feeling anxious and struggling to focus, but that's okay. It's all part of the process. Whatever changes you make over the next month, take the last few days of July to integrate your feelings around them. Grieve what needs grieving. Feel the fear of growing pains, and allow yourself this time to spiritually purge the old so that you can fully welcome in the new. It's all part of the process. Blessed be. For you, we got the Full card. So, it's the same energy reiterated. Just try to go into this month like chest open, ready to receive. This is a blessed energy. It's like the excitement of a new start. And it's leading you to freedom, whatever that means for you. Gemini, this is a very good month to be you. Enjoy the increase in magnetism, confidence, and appreciation from others. Success on multiple levels is possible, as well as personal growth and an improvement in relationships. Good across the board. Maybe you're feeling more down for commitment than you ever have before. Maybe you're feeling more comfortable saying and earnestly admitting what you want out of love, work, and life in general. Agatha Cromwell says about magic, asking for what you want and then letting yourself have it. Let yourself have it. You may be experiencing a creative breakthrough and a leveling up of an existing relationship. Any new relationship coming in will profoundly impact you in positive and life-changing ways, so stay open to possibility. You're ready to grow, and that is exactly what you're going to experience this month. Just try to stay balanced, out of the drama, and learn to tell the difference between impulsivity and intuition. Your card for the month is the Seven of Cups. And this is about staying open to possibilities. It can be even like overwhelmed with how much you have coming in. This is a card that reminds you to focus on the positive, or to just be aware with like where attention goes, the energy flows. So be aware of what you're fixating on. Try to see more of the positive than the negative if you can. I think people in general tend to be a little negativity oriented. I think we're kind of conditioned to be that way. So it does take some effort to like reorient yourself to prioritize the positive over the negative. But it's also about just like an overabundance of options. So lucky you, you have your pick. I hope that you enjoy this energy and you take it and use it for all it's worth. Cancer, you are going to be embodying a profound state of balance this month, which is such a gift. Opportunities may come up in work that you would be a real silly goose to pass up. So work on getting that imposter syndrome out of the way. If it's happening, you're ready for it. This is a good month for love and relationships for you. As you open up to new experiences, you'll call in exciting new connections and deepen already established relationships as well. An open heart will serve you. Let love lead the way as you step into the new in all areas of your life. While you grow personally and professionally, take a moment to feel grateful for those who have walked and are walking this path with you. You're so abundant in wisdom, in luck, in love, so don't be afraid to share the wealth. No crab is an island after all. You got like the most Cancer card in the whole deck, which is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is like delivering messages of love. All the knights represent messengers or messages coming in. So someone may be expressing admiration or appreciation for you. You may be hearing back about an opportunity that, something you put in motion a while ago that's the culmination is happening now. It can be like acceptances. It can be like loans being granted, although it doesn't really have to do as much with material stuff as like emotional stuff. So that's why I said like admiration or like appreciation. This could also be you opening up to the people around you and telling them how much you appreciate them and what joy they bring to your life. Just be open, be vulnerable, and watch your connections and your life in general really flourish. Good luck. Leo, happy Leo season and solar return to the Leo suns out there. July promises to be a month of growth for you. In career and finances, change is on the horizon, and in these energies, slow and steady wins the race. Try not to make any hasty decisions out of fear, but instead consider every choice, agreement, contract, and opportunity with the sharpest discernment. This is a time of deep commitment for you. Many Leo risings may be planning weddings or making moves to move an existing relationship to the next level, whatever that level may be. Make sure that whatever you're signing up for is the best option for you. Whatever seeds you're planting right now will be sure to pay off big time in the future. So plant wisely. The Eight of Pentacles makes perfect sense for this energy. The Eight of Pentacles is about, you're creating your future. Like you have an actual tangible hand in what you're creating right now. This person is literally carving the pentacles, like it can be entrepreneurship, like working for yourself. It can be planting those seeds that will come to fruition in due time. It's like satisfying work. It's something that you're really tapping into that like to-do list and checking things off. And there isn't a lot of like floundering or deciding or choosing. It's just like straight to the point, exactly what to do, exactly how to do it. And you're starting to see the fruits of your labor. Enjoy. Virgo, July is a month of profound potential growth for you. And your meticulous attention to detail and tendency toward moderation will serve you very well. It's important to stay open to change and to be flexible when life throws you something that wasn't on your to do list. This is a great time for setting goals at work, tweaking your daily routines to optimize their impact without sacrificing time. Remember, we are always honing, we are never done. I know that Virgos need to hear this as much as possible, so prepare yourself. Perfection is an unrealistic expectation, and you gotta let it go so your tummy stops hurting all the time. You may feel more inspired to work alone this month instead of collaborating, and that's totally fine. But if there's a mentor who could help you bring your vision to life or even motivate you to keep going, you will get a lot from these relationships as well. Your card for the month is the Ten of Swords, so a little anxiety as usual. This is sort of like overkill. Because like one sword in this person's back would have probably killed them, but this person decided to stick 10 in there. So this is like real hurt, real pain, and whatever it is you're going through, I'm so sorry that that's happening to you. Um the the good thing about this card is that it's a 10, which is the end of a cycle. So, whatever it is you're fretting about or worried about, 10s represent air, which is thinking. Thinking, Virgos are famous for overthinking. So, whatever you're spiraling about, try to catch the spiral when you can. Try to notice where it's happening, what you're ruminating on, what you're fixated on, and see if you can't find a way to get out of your head to get some perspective. This can be like taking a walk, having a workout, taking a shower, writing it in a journal, expressing it to a friend. Like, get it out of your head, out of your body, and you'll start to get some clarity. And maybe you might even be able to see the end in sight, because the 10 says a new beginning is dawning. So, and you can see it even in the background, like the sun rising, like the storm clouds are clearing. So hold tight, be gentle with yourself, and this too shall pass. Libra, your support networks will be everything to you this month. Appreciate them and utilize them when you start to feel overwhelmed and untethered. July brings you what feels like a rush of success. In relationships, you can expect to create new and exciting connections, deepen current long-term committed ones, and may even have a friend return from the past to reconnect. It's important as you encounter new beginnings on your path that you remember to prioritize living a holistic life. Shout out to my walk-on podcast topic for May, Living a Holistic Life. Go listen to it. It will help. Burnout doesn't help anybody. You can have it all, truly. It just takes a lot of patience, self-awareness, organization, and strong boundaries. Balance, as always, is the name of the game. And there's nobody more equipped for or challenged by it than you. Your card for the month is the Four of Swords, which is like, you need a nap. Fours are foundations, and it's like, this is that holistic life I'm talking about. Is like, maybe what you're missing is rest, and it can be really challenging and really difficult to have those strong boundaries with yourself when you're in the energy you're in right now. I know it well because I'm a Libra rising, which is that like you have hit the ground running. Like you are so serious about whatever it is you're trying to create in this life, and you schedule yourself, or you're so busy or so motivated that sometimes you forget to prioritize rest, or not even forget. It's just like not even on your radar because there isn't enough time in the day. And this is a reminder that like it is important, if you want to avoid burnout, which is, it's the biggest barrier to consistency, then you do have to live holistically. You have to prioritize everything as much as you can. And that try not to feel that as pressure. Try to feel that as as a loving thing to share. Um, because putting your life on hold isn't really a thing. Like your life keeps going. And this thing like I'll sleep when I'm dead, or like I don't have time for love or friends or rest or whatever it um is it's a lie. It's conditioning, and you can unpack it and you can try doing things a different way. And I think like even if it's just taking a day off and staying in bed or something, like there is a call to rest here, and it's part of your foundation. It should be part of your foundation, especially if you're your own boss. Scorpio, this month for you will require a flexibility that doesn't come very easily to you as a fixed sign. But have faith that everything is unfolding for your highest good. Things may not progress the way you thought they would, but they may work out even better than you ever would have let yourself believe. Trust in the process. As you live life outside of your comfort zone, you may encounter the dreaded imposter syndrome. But if you don't resist it or take it too seriously, it will pass as you let yourself feel it. Collaborations are blessed this month, but only if you choose the right people to work with. Do what you do best and allow yourself to undergo the transformation you are being asked to by the universe. You'll come out the other side better than you've ever been. Your card this month is the Page of Pentacles, which is like new student energy. Is there a project you're starting to embark on, a new career path, a new side hustle? Do you feel like you finally got a handle on making money in a way that doesn't totally deplete you? There's something here about just starting out on a journey. It's like something that's relatively new to you, but it's very exciting. You're learning everything you can about it. You're in the student energy. In fact, you're hyper focused on whatever it is that's got you so excited and into learning about right now. And the best piece of advice for this energy is ride the wave. Let the page take you to the night level. Let the night level take you to the queen. Let the queen take you to the king. Let it loop back around to the ace. And as you stick with it, through hardship or failure or imposter syndrome or whatever, you navigate the ups and downs that anything that is a mirror can elicit from us. Like your pet is a mirror, your partners are mirrors, your friends are mirrors, your job is a mirror. Like everything you do, your art, your your hobbies, they can all be mirrors in the sense that they're always trying to teach you about yourself. And if you let that happen and you undergo the transformation, you'll look back 6 months, a year from now and be like, I'm so glad I started that thing. I'm so glad I stuck with it, because it will become a really central and important thing to your life. You're preparing something that will be a big deal in the future, but it's only just the first part right now. Sagittarius, expect a payoff in July for things you put into motion in June. Professionally, there is a lot of potential growth available to you this month. Patience will work out better for you than impulsivity will, so take a beat before taking action. Your initial reactions are usually best felt and processed internally, so you can act and react with a more balanced approach when the time comes externally. You may be inspired to change your goals or change direction, possibly in more than one area of life, and that's okay. Heed what's coming up for you at this time, because it's part of a bigger story that's still unfolding. The best way to change your life is to simply make a series of different choices. And before you know it, you'll look around and think, wow, I really fucking did that. Try not to get too worked up over things taking a little longer than you expected. It's just the universe getting it exactly right for you. You'll see in time. This is very much reiterated by your card this month, which is the Star card. This is about profound healing. It's about karmic cycles kind of wrapping up and coming to to an end, although they never end. You know what? The end of one is the beginning of another, but there's something really culminating in your life at this moment. It's about vulnerability, it's about alchemy, it's about authenticity, and it's about being seen. So if you've been like job searching or looking for a partner, or like you've been sort of on the search for something, trying to make something happen, and you're not feeling seen, this is a card of visibility. So a spotlight may be shining on you this month. Take advantage of it. Find healthy outlets to channel your feelings on the situation, to unburden yourself with like whatever it's bringing up for you. I just talked about in Scorpio's reading how like everything we encounter in life is a mirror. So like something like looking for a job or starting a business or being in a relationship, like they're all trying to show us about ourselves. So whenever something comes up for you, like something challenging, like a rejection or a failure or a loss or whatever, it'll elicit like a trigger response from you, and you'll feel, if you're aware, the stuff that comes up, the stuff from the past, the ghosts that you carry with you, that you may not even realize are things you believe until you're in a moment of dysregulation. And so when it comes out, it's like it's asking to be released. So feel it all the way through and then release it until it comes up to be felt again. You're just chipping away at those wounds. And because of the star card coming out, it's like you, at the end of July, you're going to feel freer than you've ever felt. And that's because of the hard work you're doing. Capricorn, this month may bring you an overwhelming amount of opportunities, and the downside of that abundance is that you won't be able to say yes to them all. This is an opportunity to hone your discernment. Look out for red flags and pitfalls, as well as green flags and situations that have great potential. Likewise, in relationships, notice who builds you up and who tears you down. You need to be able to trust those most intimate connections in your life with your deepest fears and most consuming desires. Who and what is staying or going will become more clear for you as the month progresses. When conflict comes up in your life, ask yourself this question: am I trying to solve the problem, or am I trying to win? Nurture the bonds you want to keep close to you, and remember to receive nurturing from them as well. You're building something really beautiful. Try to keep that in mind when you come up against a growth edge. Your card this month is the Eight of Swords. There's definitely some like busy, kind of stressed out thinking going on. This is an 8, so there's like some kind of karma or culmination playing out in your life right now. There's something that has you feeling kind of stuck. It could be that like your goals aren't moving fast enough, or like the thing you want isn't coming to you as quickly as you'd like. Or you have a problem and you feel very far away from even beginning to understand how to solve it. So you're just like sitting in the discomfort of a change that needs making that like you're not ready to make. The good news about this card is that all of the stuckness is in the person's head. They could very easily unburden themselves from these ties that bind them, and then they could look up and see that they're not even in a cage at all. They're just in the center of a bunch of swords stuck in the ground. So this is like, it's all in your head. It's just your thoughts. And when this card comes out, it's like you have what you need to free yourself. So you probably need to focus on like a mind frame shift. Like there's something you're seeing as only negative that has a lot more potential to be positive in your life if you could just like expand a little bit and let yourself be aware of that and then take action on that. So you will be feeling more liberated after this month comes to an end. Anytime you feel stuck, remember that that's supposed to happen and that it's just trying to show you something about yourself. It's just trying to show you the autonomy you have in your own life, that at any time you could decide to tear off those ties and just walk out of that circle of swords. It's no more like sinister than that, it's coming from inside the house. Aquarius, self-awareness is the name of the game for you this month. There's something here about making sure you are setting attainable goals. It might be best not to focus on the big picture right now. Instead, commit yourself to the one bite at a time method of eating a sandwich. Make your to-do list, check things off one by one. Take advice that resonates with you, a task literally built for your intuition, and leave anything that doesn't. This discernment is really crucial at this moment because bad advice can be a derailing force for you in July. You're capable of manifesting so much good. All you have to do is keep yourself out of burnout or overwhelm. Whether that means scheduling in some alone time, saying no to the urge to overbook yourself, or checking your own unrealistic expectations, both of yourself and of others. Be gentle with yourself. This is a growth spurt, and there's bound to be some growing pains. Your card this month is the Three of Pentacles, which I thought was really interesting because there wasn't much in your little horoscope that spoke about collaboration, and there was for other signs, but it's here in this card. Threes represent completion. It can be like a union of mind, body, and spirit, speaking on being like really in alignment with yourself. We talked about your intuition in your little horoscope, so it could be like a deeper or deepening awareness of your intuition in the mind, body, spirit triangle, where I think some people tend to be like, air signs tend to be all mind, water signs tend to be all intuition, and earth signs tend to be all body. So it's like finding out how to get those in balance, and that's really when you get to a place of like true discernment and intuition. Is like it's grounded, it's logical, and it's like from the gut. There's something here about like building something really important with other people. This could be like a friend group, a chosen family. This could be a project. It could be literally a house you're building or something. And there's something here about like harmony, about learning how to work with others, how to let people in, how to trust other people and be able to delegate. That's one of the things that can keep you out of overwhelm. And sometimes expanding your circle or sharing a project with someone or something can be really vulnerable and triggering. As beautiful as it can also be. It's like the more energy you add to something, the more potential for stress or complications or little hiccups there can be. So, but I think this is a really good sign. There's something in collaboration is really working for you this month. So trust the experience and be curious and see where it takes you. Pisces, this month you are being challenged to align with honest, direct communication and advocating for your own needs while balancing that with empathy and consideration for others. There may be some challenges presenting themselves in work and relationships for you in July, but that's okay. You're just sculpting your life and yourself and smoothing some edges. Remember, healing is not creating something new, but uncovering what has always been there, underneath the trauma and conditioning. You may notice some changes occurring in your relationship dynamics. Some connections will strengthen and some may come to an end. Regardless, there will be an opportunity to hash out some overlooked or more like glossed over issues from the past. If you didn't speak your piece then, take the opportunity to be heard now. Likewise, you'll see some professional shifts that will be very positive overall, but that may challenge you in ways that push you outside your comfort zone. Try to steer clear of Eeyore mode, as the energy of your thoughts are very potent this month. Manifest, believe, receive. You are the master of your reality. Your card this month is the Queen of Wands, which is very like not Pisces energy. She's loud, she's passionate, she's a bitch on wheels. She doesn't let anybody walk on her. Like she She's the only queen that sits with her legs open, so she's like sexually liberated. And she just has real fire energy about her. And I think that makes sense for you this month because it's like this is the energy that you should carry with you when you're considering having one of those tough conversations or talking about something that hasn't been dealt with, that's been lingering for a while under the surface. um this like courageous, fearless, like almost someone who enjoys conflict energy is important. Like it's with you this month, it's available to you, even if you think like, oh, I could never be like that, or I could never stand up for myself. She's here so you can. And it's very important now. I know, like, harmony and maintaining the peace and making sure everyone's happy is like very important, and that nurturing, peacekeeping quality is like an inherent part of you. But instead of that making you feel like you can't engage in conflict or you can't have these honest conversations, you should think of it as like, I'm especially equipped to handle these things and have them be like productive and kind and loving. You should trust yourself that you're not going to go off the deep end or like hurt anyone's feelings, or even if you do, that it's not something that can't be worked through. It totally is. If someone is like can't give you the benefit of the doubt or like trust your sweetness, that isn't really your problem. That might be someone who has a problem with you laying a boundary or standing up for yourself. So just remember, she's here. You can do this. And actually, you'll be surprised with how good you feel after the conversation is had. That's it for July 2025. I hope you enjoyed the report. I hope this is a good month for you. I hope some of the things I said here can like make you feel a sense of solidarity and community and courage. I hope you commit further to empathy and honesty and equity and care and consciousness and awareness and love in your life and your relationships and the energy that you take out into the world. Yeah. Look out for my new episode on July 15th, and I'll see you then and next month, which drops the 1st. My astrology report always comes out on the 1st. Put those in your calendar, or you can subscribe to the channel or the podcast so you never miss an episode, or you can follow me on social media. All those details will be in the little description thingy below. The Walk On podcast is a production of Walk On Productions. It is written, recorded, produced, edited, and marketed by me. That's right, all by my lonesome. This is truly an independent production and a labor of love, so every little bit of support counts. You can support me by liking, commenting, or sharing this episode. You can follow me on social media. The podcast content is at walkon_pod, and my personal account with my music, my dancing, my writing, and everything else is Brit_that's_it. You can book a service with me. I offer tarot readings, astrology consultations, a mentorship service where we meet once a week and discuss your blocks to abundance, to love, to self-acceptance. I also offer voice lessons, which can be just learning how to sing. It can also be throat chakra healing that teaches you how to lay boundaries and speak your truth. Or it can be gender-affirming voice lessons. You can book all of those at my website, which is britcannon.me/services. You can explore the other pages on my website to listen to my music. I have a few singles out. I have an EP I released. You can go watch my burlesque performances. You can also buy my book of poetry, Flight of the Final Girl, which explores my generational trauma through the lens of horror movies I love. You can book me for your event to perform, to do tarot readings, to whatever you want me to do for money at the email brit@britcannon.me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Happy healing.